Hello there. You're listening to Humans of Mitike Rang, and today we are in conversation with Miss Aishwarya Jaiswal. She's a traveler and social worker. Tune in to know more about how a Microsoft employee became a travel enthusiast. Get to the question?
Yeah, definitely.
Awesome. You were working for Microsoft, which
Right.
is a huge deal for some people. And
Yeah.
so, what what was it that made you feel unsatisfied with your life working in Microsoft?
For me as well, Microsoft was a dream, and being studied in one of the remotest place in West Bengal. Uh, we used to look up to our seniors and elders who were working out there and working with the brands. So it became like a dream, that this is the thing what I want to get achieve next or get associated with. And that's how Microsoft happened, and I got into Microsoft. But then what happened was that, when I was working in Microsoft, we set goals, right? We set short-term goals, we set long-term goals. So when I was doing these things of setting goals, and when I went to my long-term goal, and I figured out like what exactly I want to do in my long-term goal. What I was doing with Microsoft didn't align to my long-term goals. And that's when, I started researching and figuring out more that like how can I create a bigger impact. So I won't say that I'm unsatisfied, but I would say that my goals have changed. So yeah.
Amazing. It must have taken a lot of courage to leave. Did you leave that job?
No, I haven't left that job. Like I'm
Okay.
still working with Microsoft, but yeah, like
There's
it's
more to
still
it now.
yeah, and I'm exploring more and more options and doing my side hustle, I would say. So yeah.
And then to explore your long-term goals, you started solo traveling.
Yes, and
And
solo
how was
traveling.
that?
Yeah. So solo traveling I have been doing, but like initially when I started solo traveling, it started off with a very small journey. I used to study in Chandigarh, and there's this place called Kasoli. Don't mistake with Kasol. And I did a journey which was just 2 hours from Chandigarh, and there was a lot of things that happened in this journey. Like there was new perspectives that I saw. There was something to learn from that particular culture. Also, it gave me a bit more confidence. So that's how it started. I would say it was a gateway. And then I started researching more and finding, like, started doing meaningful journeys. I also got associated with an organization named as Cherish Expeditions, where, where they work towards social impact initiatives. And that was when more meaningful things started happening, and we started taking travel as a learning experience. So yeah, that's how it started.
Amazing. And do you think that traveling has changed you as a person?
Yes, traveling has, transformed my life. It has shifted the way I look to things. Usually people say that travel is very therapeutic, but how is that? I feel that it's because when you go to a new place, there are a lot of things to observe too, like it's completely different. There's so much new things happening, and you become more observant. So in this case, what happens is that your post thoughts doesn't come up. It's mostly like your indigenous methods of okay solutions are popping up, and that's how traveling has helped me. Also, traveling traveling also helps you through, breaking those shackles. Like you come out of your comfort zone, and then you
Right.
try doing things which you are afraid of, and there is this excitement that I should do it. But once you do it, you see a better version of yourself, which is more confident, which is ready to risk things and take up things, right? So that's how traveling has been transformation for me, and it has taught me a lot.
Yes, yes, absolutely. And one point that you said, that it really helped you break your shackles, right?
Yes,
So there are so
yes,
many women, there are so many women out there who really want to travel, really want to explore, but they're usually stopped by, these shackles of the family worried for them, or society, and how will society treat
right.
them. What is what is your what are your words of advice for these women? Like, how do you think they can break their shackles and actually go out there?
It's like, it's like taking the first step. First step, when you take the first step, it's very scary. But you need to have that courage to try that. You need to make yourself strong to take that
Mhm.
very first step. And once you start doing it, you will see lot many hurdles, but then slowly, things will start working towards your benefit, and unfolding in the most beautiful way you might never think of.
Right. And we've got a few questions coming in,
Yeah.
and both of them, we've got two questions, and both of them are more or less the same. Is how do you manage your work as well as your traveling together?
So for this, I have a very simple answer. For things what you're passionate about, for the things you love, you will definitely find time, and you will make time for it in any way round. Like you have 24 hours in a day, you'll start with 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, and that's how you start building it up.
Amazing. And you said that traveling really opened you up as a person. You became observant. So, how do you think understanding various people, these cultures, and what kind of effect has that had? I am messing up my words. What kind of
No problem.
effect has that had on you?
Yeah. So when you speak about different cultures and different people, the very first thought, what comes to my mind is diversity. And when we speak about
Mhm.
diversity, there is again so much to learn. Like it's about diverse thoughts coming into one place and doing wonderful things. So, for example, like, we live a life in a certain way. But when you visit to these communities, these places, you see numerous ways of living life, and then you realize that, yours is not the best. You are not doing the best out of it. And that's when it hits. For example, like there are many examples. I'll just give one or two examples. So
Sure,
I
sure.
was traveling, like there's this community in Rajasthan that worships the environment, and they don't
Mhm.
have idols, right? And they worship nature. So that is such a good learning, and that's what, it hits you that okay, this is something which we can also try. And it's completely sustainable, it's completely environment friendly, they don't even harm the environment, right?
Mhm.
Something similarly, like example of, just take example of Kerala or any other states. So in Kerala we use medical practices like Ayurveda, which is completely made of plants, and like we
Mhm.
don't use medicine. So that is an example and how beneficial it is. So even like, so one very interesting thing happened. Like I've grown in a place where there are a lot of plants, like we have a very good
Mhm.
garden with lots of plants. But I would have never dared to eat those plants because I was not aware. I went to a place where I saw a person who was only surviving by eating plants, and it was a complete diet. And I got to know that okay, these are the plants that are growing in my backyard as well. but I never knew how to use it, right? So like there's a lot to learn from these communities, and the list keeps going on.
Amazing. And another question coming from a viewer. Uh,
Yeah.
she asks, what is one of your dearest stories from travel? Something
Yeah.
that has reinforced your passion for traveling.
Yeah, I think there are many stories. I think one story which I would say is when I started working with Cherish Expeditions. We started doing meaningful journeys where we used to help communities. Like we have helped communities in terms of like educating children, teaching them concepts of breath work. Which is more towards physical and personal transformation. So that those moments are very precious, and you can see those impact then and there. So these are like some of the very dearest memories that are close to me. So yeah.
And has there been something that you have, something that you've seen during one of your travels that you have adopted into your life now, a habit or something like that?
Yes, like there are so many things, like living a life in a more sustainable way. That's the simplest example. Not to use plastic. Like if you go to Himachal, places like this, people are so careful of how they use plastics, right? Especially in the mountains. So almost everything, like they are very small, but this is one of the major thing that has I have changed in. Like I haven't been able to do it completely, but yes, I try doing as much as I can.
Amazing. And I saw another question here. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, did you face any problems as a woman while traveling? Were there any safety issues as such? That
Okay.
And how did you deal with them?
As such issues, like what you need to do while you are traveling is to be alert, like to be alert with your surroundings, and to be alert of the places where you are staying, whether those are safe. Always have a check and a pre-assessment of where is that place, how would you reach that place, what time of the day are you traveling to those places. I have been always careful with these little things, and like till now, luckily, like I haven't faced any issues. And the precaution measures which we take, like carrying this pepper spray and all those things, so just be alert and conscious while you're traveling, so that you're aware about your surroundings. Like that's the best suggestion I would think that worked for me.
Great. Another question is, would you leave your job for traveling if you had to choose between the two, whether travel or your profession?
So it's not like completely leaving your job. I like to have a balance, and I like to do meaningful things with travel. And I can also have a job which aligns to this vertical, right? I can like right now I'm working with a travel company, right? Cherish Expeditions. So I'm doing it with my job, right? So it's not that like everything goes hand in hand. It's about how you find balance between the both.
Right. So if you had to choose, you wouldn't.
Yeah, like it again depends upon what is the situation, like, and maybe I might quit Microsoft and just be a full-time traveler and working with some other companies, right? So it
Right.
completely depends upon how it unfolds.
Okay. And now moving on to your the work that you're doing for women. And
Yeah.
so how and when you first started helping women in your hometown itself. So how and when did you start?
So actually, this was, I would say, a very unconscious thing that happened. Like I have been brought up in this environment, and like this used to hit me that okay, these things are happening, but I was very small and I didn't know how to find a solution for that. But when I started traveling, I became more observant, and there were self-help groups in Himachal which was completely driven by women, right? So what happened was that when I came back home during one of the vacations, we had some domestic help during that time. And two ladies who used to help us, she came to my mom and she was looking for employment, but we already had somebody. We couldn't, employ her. So that time we provided some financial assistance, but this was not the long-term solution, right? So that's when it hit us, and we had a discussion, and I said that we already have a factory, and the job is also like pretty doable. We just have to make paper plates. Why not employ them there and give them a source of income? So this happened.
Right.
And but then there was a problem, usually people used to work for 8 hours. Then I suggested, since I had seen those things happening in Himachal, there was this that we can pay them for an hour, 2 hours, the way they work, for how many hours they work. And that would be also flexible for them as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we started with 2 women, and then the word was spread and more people got involved. And right now we have around 20 women, of which there is 2 college students, and so they earn from this, and they are able to pay their computer tuition fees for this. And similarly, they are single women who are able to help their family, right? So it just started with an unconscious thing and became a conscious thing.
Amazing. That's so wonderful to hear. So another question that we have in the comments is, what is the first place you want to travel after lockdown? And I would like to add my question to it. Which is your favorite place that you have already traveled to? So please answer both.
Okay. So I have many favorite places, and India is full of hidden experiences and unexplored places. Yeah. So, and the very fresh, I'll speak about the very fresh experience which I had. So this was, if you have heard about Gokarna. So it was just before lockdown. I came to my hometown, and it was just 3 days before that. I went to this place, and we camped in an island, and it was kind of an isolated island. Not many people visit there, and we camped in the night. And I love floating in the ocean. So there's this phenomena called phytoplanktons. It's basically, the ocean glitters. These are light emitting organisms. So the best thing what happened that day was that the intensity was quite high. And while I was floating in the ocean, and I used to do this, and I was just looking at the sky. And the sky was full of stars. So I could see the glittery here in the ocean where I was floating, and the skies were up, and it was just beautiful, something very close to my heart.
Amazing. And yes, he asked, what place would you like to travel after the lockdown ends?
Okay, so I had many plans to travel. April was supposed to be a completely 20 days backpacking month. I would like to explore Northeast. I'm from this part, but I haven't explored it much. I really want to explore the interiors of Northeast. So yeah, maybe after lockdown I'll do that.
And do you have any dream locations that you would love to get to?
I think I want to travel around the world. So there's nothing called dream location, but yeah, I want to see the world. So yeah, everything comes into that list.
Awesome. And now just last couple of questions from my side. If there are any more from the viewers, they're welcome. So Aishwarya, what is next for you?
That's a very tough question, because there are so many things lined up. There are so many next for me right now. I'll put down few. So I'm we recently, I said, I'm working with Cherish Expeditions. So we just finished one of a fundraising initiative where we help raising funds to for the Shikara community of Kerala. Then we are doing some amazing, it's lined up. We are doing some amazing social impact projects. That is what is lined up next. Then I have something coming up for scaling businesses to online. That is also something next, and I'm very excited about. So yeah, these are the things which are happening next.
Amazing. So you are up to a lot.
Yes, a lot.
Great. And another question we got is, when is a world tour on your card?
Whenever, like right now things are uncertain, so let's see how it unfolds. We are all waiting for it because these are very exciting times to see how we travel, how everything changed, because there's an entire shift around the world, I would say. So I don't know when it will happen, but like I'll do it when it's the right time for me and when I have that calling.
Amazing. And I'm good. Like, I'm waiting to see all your pictures, and I hope it happens soon, as soon as all this is over. And
Right.
yeah, my last question to you is, what is a message you would like to give, to uh, other people just maybe starting out in their careers and who are keen with their careers or with
Mm-hmm.
traveling? What are your words
Okay.
of advice?
Okay. So for me, like the way I look at it is, uh, always start looking for your next. Like never settle down to whatever you have achieved. Like keep looking for your next, because there's always something more to do. And like dream as much as you can, because when you dream, you actually start thinking about it, and then you start taking actions. And the very first step is going to be it's going to be difficult, but as I said, it will be full of hurdles, but once you start walking on that path, it will become easy slowly and gradually, and things will turn out for the best for you.
Amazing. And I think I'm done with my questions here. So if you could just share with people how they can get in touch with you and know more about you and your journey and join you in your journey. So how can they do that?
I can't hear. Can you repeat the question once again?
Sure, sure. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. So it's just the last thing that I'm asking is, for our viewers, if they want to join you in your journey, know where you're going
Uh-huh.
next, and
Uh-huh.
know more about your work. So
Right.
where can they get in touch with you for that?
So we actually have a platform named as Cherish Expeditions. We usually come up with, like, there are a lot many trips planned ahead, and like I will just send you in the link. Like let me type it, or I think Cherish is there
Sure.
on the call. Cherish Expedition is on the call. So
Yes,
they can
yes.
stay updated with all the journeys what we are doing there, and we are quite like we are very active on Insta, so we keep posting with anything what we are doing.
Amazing. Thank you so much for joining us, Aishwarya. It's been a real pleasure
Thank you.
talking to you, and you've definitely
Same here.
inspired me to travel more.
Thank you so much.
So, all the best for all your upcoming projects, and we hope to get an update on that soon too. So, all the best
So,
and good luck with that. Good
thank
night.
you. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Thank you. Bye bye.